Welcome back to Educator.com and AP World History. So good to have you with us this session. This is so smart of you to beef up your abilities in this field and make a great score on that test in May. Today, we're going to start a new section called Part 4, Period 4, excuse me, and the title of that is Global Interactions, and the period of time is 1450 to 1750. This part seems to be a little bit more difficult for students, at least in the last exam. In the multiple choice, kids did really well on parts 1, 2, and 3. But part 4, the scores went way down. So it's good for us to spend some time in period 4, really understanding it and helping you to overcome that problem that happened last year. There are only 3 major concepts for the period. So it'd be good for you to memorize these and the period name and the period dates so that at least when it comes to this period, you know what fits in it. So what are they? The key concepts of 1450 to 1750. First of all, globalizing networks of communication and exchange. What this means is that, as you know, what's going to happen is the Eastern Hemisphere and the Western Hemisphere are going to be joined together for the first time in all of human history. So that's going to be huge, and new networks are going to be established, and it's going to affect the others. Also, secondly, we have new forms of social organization and modes of production come into play. By social organization, we mean that with the mixing of peoples, we have to come up with where are people, what are the levels? And we're going to find some new products that are going to be very popular, and we're going to use new ways of producing them and distributing them. And lastly, we have state consolidation and imperial expansion. The actual thing we call a nation, we'll call nation state, is really kind of birthed during this period, and it evolves into the kinds of things that we have today when we talk about nations. So there's consolidation, and by consolidation we mean instead of having so many little entities of government, one entity of government begins to swallow those up and make them one. And when they do that, they become imperial. And imperial refers to ruling over peoples outside of your own group that don't see themselves as belonging. So we have 2 kinds. We have land-based. And land-based, an example would be Russia. Starts out fairly small, begins to expand, and expands in its land. The land masses and the size of Russia gets bigger and bigger. And then we have sea-based. And here you have a nation state that it spreads out through trade over the ocean, such as Britain and Holland. They fairly small countries, but they had a lot of trade going on and a navy that enabled them to expand to other places in the world that were far separated by water. And yet they created really big imperial nations. All right, those are the 3 concepts.